Licensing Subcommittee. Before we start, a quick announcement. Today's meeting is being filmed for live and subsequent broadcast by way of the Council's internet site. The images and sound recording may also be used for training purposes within the Council. Generally, the public sitting areas are not filmed. However, by entering this meeting room and using public sitting area, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting and or training purposes. Please use your microphones to contribute to the meeting, and please remember to switch off the microphone when you have finished. Members dialing in remotely, which is not going to happen in this case. Okay. A brief introduction. My name's Alan Morris. I represent Liz Werry. My colleagues introduce themselves.
I'm Councillor Alex Pym. I represent the Orway ward.
I'm Councillor David Farworth. I represent the Altarine ward.
Good morning, Alistair Dealing. I'm the Licensing Manager for Newport City Council.
Good morning, Louise Armstrong. I'm a solicitor for Newport City Council.
Good morning, PC Cheshire, Licensed Officer for Gwent Police.
Good morning, Luke Elford from John Gaunt and Partners on behalf of the premises licence holder, and I have with me Mr. Jack Bannister, who's the owner of the premises.
Good morning, my name's Emily Major and I'm a Governance Support Officer.
Hello, I'm Anne Jenkins. I'm recording the live webcast today.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of today's licensing subcommittee is that of a review of a premises licence under Section 51 of the Licensing Act 2003 regarding Vibes 1115 Cambrian Road, Newport, MP20 4AD. As I've announced this premises, can I just ask if the committee, subcommittee, have any interest at all regarding this premises? Thank you. The application today was served by Gwent Police and as part of a licensing review, but I do wish to announce to the committee that you would have received a number of documents from the solicitor highlighting that both the licensed premises and the applicant, Gwent Police, have come to an agreement now regarding the terms and conditions of the licence that should be proposed today. As such, what I'm proposing is I'm going to read the report out to the committee today and slightly go off the procedure, then allowing the licence holder then to present their evidence or submission to the committee, and then the applicant then submit. That's slightly different to the procedure, but if everybody's happy for that process, I think it will benefit this hearing immensely. So if everybody's happy to proceed with that, that would be great. Yes. Okay. So the review application under Section 51 of the Licensing Act 2003 was received on the 14th of September 2023 from Gwent Police, acting in their role as a responsible authority to review the premises licence in respect to Vibes. This is located on 1115 Cambrian Road, Newport. This is found within the city centre. The applications submitted by the police were on the following licensing objectives: to prevent the crime and disorder and ensuring of public safety. A copy of the review paperwork and supporting documentation can be found in Appendix A of this report. The application was received by the licensing authority back on the 14th of September 2023, and in accordance with Section 51(3)(a) of the Licensing Act 2003, a copy of the application was served on the premises licence holder and all responsible authorities via email. Following receipt of this application, the licensing authority advertised the application in accordance with the regulations of the Act, thereby inviting representations to be made by interested parties. Any representation in respect to this application made by the responsible authority or interested party would have to be received by the licensing authority by 12th of October 2023. At the time of writing this report, the previous DPS was Nicola McGriff. You will hear from the licensing license holder regarding the current status of the DPS. The premises license for the Vibes nightclub allowed for a number of licensing activities, but in general and in brief, allowed the sale of alcohol Monday to Friday in 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning, and then on Saturday 7 in the morning till 5 in the morning, Sunday 7 till 4, and then there's a selection of Monday, Thursday from 7 till 5, any Sunday prior to bank holiday 7 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning, bank holiday Monday 7 till 5 o'clock in the morning, Christmas Eve 7 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning, and then Boxing Day 7 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the morning. The premises also allowed at the same time a performance of dance, exhibition of film, indoor sporting events, performance of live regulated music and playing of recorded music, and also late night refreshment in line with those hours I've just mentioned. The premises may operate and provide any potential light activity until 5 o'clock on any occasion, also when they're showing live broadcasts of national and international sporting events. So in summary, the licensed premises in general will operate Monday to Friday till 7 in the morning if they wish to, till 4 o'clock, with people leaving the premises probably around 4:30. And then on a Saturday and those exceptional other days, then you'd have a situation where they could open at 7 in the morning and continue operating licensing activities till 5 in the morning, with people leaving the premises approximately around 5:30. A copy of the premises license can be found in Appendix B of this report. The representations that we received, the licensing authority invited representations as stipulated previously in the policy to allow people to make representation by midnight on the 12th of October 2023. It should be noted the licensing authority received no further representation from any other responsible authorities, though representations were received from other persons, and these can be found in Appendix C of the report. These other persons, in general, lay support of how the premises is run by the premises licence holder. On the 10th of October 2023, PC James Cheshire, who's present here today from Gwent Police Licensing Team, and Luke Elford of John O'Gaunts and partners representing Vibes met with myself as a licensing manager as part of a mediation meeting. At the mediation meeting, Gwent Police made a number of recommendations regarding alterations to the premises licence, in both regard to reducing the licensing hours but also adding further licence conditions to the premises licence. In addition to these, Gwent Police also requested that a new DPS was placed on the licensing premises, alongside removing the current door team. At the end of the meeting, Mr. Elford was to meet with his client to discuss the proposals at the time of writing this report, and a response regarding mediations was not received by the licensing authority. This was not in any way indicated the premises licence holder being obstructive in any way, but it was simply down to work commitments already pre-arranged before the review hearing. Clearly now all parties present in this room today have received that documentation, what clearly highlights the agreement between the police and the licence holder. This can be found in Appendix E of this report, and I'll allow the licensed premises holder to represent the terms and conditions in due course. But there has been a significant amount of mediation between both parties. I would say that the mediation, from my view, has been very constructive, very positive, and means that we're at a situation where the police are happy with the proposals, and hopefully the licence holder can see that the police will be working with them in the near future to ensure the licensing objectives are maintained. So the background, the premises licence history for the premises. The premises has operated as a late night venue since the introduction of the Licensing Act 2003. The premises operates as Breeze until December 2021. December 2021, when the premises actually closed due to a significant fire damage within the venue. The venue operated as a more late-night bar stroke nightclub pre-2021. The premises then reopened under a new name, Vibe Super Club, in October 2022, where the premises was fully refurbished and the main bar from Breeze was removed, and staging and seating areas provided kind of a more in line with a nightclub area than maybe a late night bar, allowing more space for customers to dance. So since the incident of the fire damages, there has been significant changes to the environment, lots of investment undertaken in the premises to bring it up to a modern venue. Pre the fire, the premises licence was for Breeze was reviewed by Newport City Council's trading standards due to breaches of COVID legislation on the 4th and 5th of September 2020. The licensing committee determined at the review the following. So what happened 4th and September 2020? The committee will all remember COVID regulations where premises at a point were closed and then they were allowed to open in some form, but nightclubs weren't allowed to open. And there was clearly guidance available, but it wasn't as simple as maybe one could understand. But on this merit, the COVID breaches were simply that the premises seemed to be operating as started off as a bar, what they could easily do under the COVID regulations, but then certain points then turned into a nightclub. So a review was called on the premises regarding these COVID legislations breaches. It's, in licensing terms, it's kind of an unusual situation, as COVID was. But the COVID review was called. The licensing committee carefully considered representation from the applicant for the licensing review by Trading Standards, Gwent Police and the Health Board. And Mr. Roger James, the solicitor who represented Breeze at that time, alongside Mr. Bannister, who's here today, the licence holder, and the DPS, who is Colin Simpson. As it was clearly evident at the time from CCTV footage presented by Trading Standards that Breeze upstairs area on the 4th and 5th of September 2020 failed to comply with Regulation 12.2 of the Health Protection and COVID Regulations number 2, regulations under the Welsh Regulations 2020, and thus were undermining the licensing objectives of both public safety and crime and disorder. It is patently obvious that people in the VIP area, including staff, were not socially distanced in accordance with these regulations. The committee noted that although in general the premises had put in place a number of practices to ensure compliance with both the COVID regulations and the Welsh Government guidance, unfortunately on the nights in question, and despite the downstairs of the premises seeming to be broadly compliant, it was obvious to the committee that the premises had utterly failed to comply with the COVID regulations in the VIP area. The committee was very disappointed to note that although the owner of the premises was present on the 4th of September 2020, he simply ignored what was happening in the VIP area from where he was seated. And although the owner posted that he was a customer that evening, the committee took the view that any responsible owner would have spoken to the management team or door staff to ensure compliance. However, he failed to do this and indeed breaches the regulations by failing to correctly socially distance from other customers and staff. Although the committee fully understands the licensing premises have found COVID extremely challenging, it concluded that in this case the owner failed to take reasonable responsibility for his own actions, his customers' actions and his staff actions, and therefore seriously undermined the licensing objective and placed the local community at further risk of the spread of COVID-19. The licensing committee, after hearing all the evidence at the review, determined the following. The committee felt a month's suspension would be proportionate considering the extremely serious nature of COVID regulations. breaches that took place on the 4th and 5th of September in the VIP area. But it also considered the following in mitigation: the historic good conduct of the premises, the actions taken by the premises by the customer reported they had COVID, had been in the VIP area of the breach of Breeze. The premises was closed due to COVID restrictions during the fire break. The suspension will occur at the start of the Christmas period. The committee therefore decided to, one, suspend the premises licence only for a 2-week period, or 14 days, or attach the following conditions to promote the licensing objectives. These conditions are highlighted within the report, but were generally to remove the DPS, and the DPS then could not be Jack Bannister, and there were other conditions regarding putting door staff in the VIP area. But I will say, obviously, COVID was, in inverted commas, was not normal times for all businesses operating, but there were terms and conditions they should comply with. The actual licence premises is located on Cambrine Road. As many will know, Cambrine Road is part of Newport's main nighttime economy. There are a number of different other licensed premises operating in similar hours to Breeze, and ultimately this area is part of a significant part of Friday and Saturday nights Newport nighttime economy. Plans and pictures of the premises can be found in Appendix D of this report. Today, the subcommittee need to consider, obviously, the premises licensing reviews, and importantly consider the 4 licensing objectives when determining. They need to take consideration of the Council's own guidance and the revived guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003. But ultimately, the purpose of this review today is to ensure that the premises maintains the licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance and protection of children from harm. The committee are permitted to make a number of decisions today once they've heard all the information from all parties. Firstly, they can modify the premises licence conditions if they wish to do so. They can exclude any licensing activity from the scope of the premises licence. They may wish to remove the designated premise supervisor from the licence, but you will hear from the licence holder this has already been undertaken. To suspend the premises licence for a period of not exceeding 3 months, or in fact to revoke the premises licence, or, if it is felt, take no action in respect to the premises licences at all. As stipulated, there's been significant mediation between both parties. It would be normal course now for the applicant, being the police, to present their evidence. And within that evidence, they would have gone through the report and the information provided within their submission. There's a number of incidents that have taken place within the premises as highlighted, and I'll allow the police to go through those in due course. But ultimately, what has occurred is that the police and the licence applicant have now come to an agreement where they feel that the conditions and hours should be altered on the licence, thus to promote the licensing objectives. These conditions can be found within Appendix E of this report, what was sent after the report was submitted. So, Chair, it would be normal course for the police to provide their evidence. It may be the case for the licence holder if you agree to present their evidence at this point in time. If there's no questions for myself regarding the report.
Were colleagues happy with that? Happy to proceed along?
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, I think when I speak, you'll understand why we've chosen to do it in this way. As you've heard from your licensing officer, this is a review of a premises licence which has been brought by Gwent Police. This is one of 2 reviews brought by Gwent Police for your benefit, as you didn't sit in the hearing last week. The other was in relation to another premises called the Greyhound. In relation to that review last week, it was resolved via hours and conditions, and I'm going to be asking, please, that you do the same here today. The hours and the conditions that we've arrived at with the police are set out for you in the bundle in front of you. But I don't want you to think for 1 second that me not speaking for hours or there not being a plethora of paperwork is in any way indicative of a laissez-faire attitude or a lack of preparation by ourselves or by the police. It doesn't. It reflects hours and hours put in behind the scenes that has allowed us to distill the issues down and then provide solutions to those issues. And I've said it in my written submissions, but I'd like to say it again for the record. We'd like to thank the police, PC Cheshire, who's here today, and also PC Williams, who's on leave, for their role in working with us and the pragmatic way in which they approached discussing conditions. For example, the first set of conditions that were proposed to us in respect of this premises included some things that would not have worked commercially. When this was pointed out to PCs Cheshire and PC Williams, they went back to the drawing board, accepted what we were saying, took on board, and we discussed things back and forth in a collaborative way. I also want to thank your licensing officer, Alistair Dearling, for the role that he played in bringing everyone together and sort of working between both parties to find a resolution. And I'd like the committee to know that in terms of a relationship between this premises licence holder and the police and the licensing authority moving forwards, everything is in the right direction and everyone's going to be moving forward in the right way. So we're asking you to replace the conditions on the licence with an agreed schedule of conditions, if you will. There is one condition that I must draw to your attention. This is the odd occasion where you will hear a solicitor admit to making a mistake. Normally we try to say that we are infallible. At condition 36, councillors, we've said that all external tables and chairs will be rendered unusable by 10 p.m. each day. That should say all external chairs and tables should be rendered unusable by 2200 hours on a Friday, Saturday, bank holiday or any other non-standard timings. I did raise this with the police and with Alistair before the hearing and both were content with that, and if they aren't, please say now. The conditions cover everything that you would expect from a modern nightclub premises licence. I'm not going to read them all to you. There are 55 in total, but they cover things like CCTV coverage, security, dispersal, incident reporting, and crime scene management. One of the things that the police asked of us immediately was that we replace the DPS at the premises licence at the premises, and we've done that already. The new DPS is Alan Wright, and he is going to be taking the premises forwards. The police also asked that we replace our door security company with another firm, and that was undertaken back on, I think, the 6th of October. There's further comfort there in that people who worked for the previous door security company, by virtue of the conditions, cannot come and work at this premises again. So we've worked with the police and the council on the conditions and the hours, and we will continue to work with them moving forwards. The venue has been operating throughout this process. This isn't a scenario where we've been closed down in the interim. PC Cheshire, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there have been any issues at this premises since this review was triggered up until this point today. I'd like you to consider this, please, a new chapter in the evolution of this venue. In terms of the outcome we are requesting, your licensing officer very helpfully laid out what you can do in respect of a review of a premises licence. What we're asking you to do is to modify the conditions of the licence, so that includes the hours in accordance with the agreed schedule of hours and conditions. And of course, if you have any questions about those hours and conditions, I shall be happy to answer them for you. Councillors, I don't think there's a great deal more for me to say here other than to echo a remark made by your chair at the last hearing, which was that this is a refreshing approach to licensing reviews where all parties are pulling in the same direction towards a common outcome. Licensing law suggests, and the Section 182 guidance suggests, that we should all work in partnership. We have done so, and we look forward to working in partnership moving forwards. Unless you have any questions for me, councillors, those are my submissions.
Any questions to the applicants? No. So I throw it now back to the police.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, councillors. I'd like to say, obviously, I think Mr. Deal and Mr. Alford have quite covered this review quite comprehensively, so there's not really much for me to say, apart from, at Gwen Police, we all continue to work with premises. We're always looking to help and advice. This review was called because we felt, over the period of time, things weren't improving. We've waited approximately 10 months on this incident. We've gone through meetings, 2 action plans, final warnings, and we felt there wasn't being any progression. What I will say on a positive note, though, is that since Mr. Alford's come on board, mediation has gone smoothly, and we've been able to agree on issues we've identified and how we can rectify and amend this. And I feel with the proposals we've agreed and the change of the licences now, I'm quite confident that we will see this improvement in the way the premises is run. And that's all I really have to say if there's any other questions.
Alistair, do you have any comment?
I think where there's been so much mediation taking place previously, the sum-ups highlight the hard work that has been undertaken. The hours are in front of you have been reduced, and there has been conditions from 35 conditions on the previous licence to now 55. I would also say some of those 35 conditions were historic conditions, and some of those would not be relevant in today's licensing world. So the conditions proposed are, as Mr. Elfers said, there are now 55 conditions proposed that have been agreed by the police. I think those conditions are reflective of what we would deem as a modern conditions to a nightclub, rather than maybe some conditions that are transferred back in 2003. So it will now be, if there's no further summing up from either parties or no further questions from each party or the committee members, it will be that, for you to determine to retire and make your decision, Chair.
I'm happy to say again that it's such a huge amount of work that has gone into that. It's a credit to all 3 parties here, and again, it's refreshing to see it, and I congratulate you. So what you're asking us to do is to agree that the conditions, with the exception of 36, where would you like to explain again the slight difference that you're asking us to accept?
Yes, councillors. All of the hours and the conditions, please. But condition 36 to read as follows. All external tables and chairs shall be rendered unusable by 2200 hours on a Friday, Saturday, bank holiday or any other non-standard timings.
Okay, got that? Okay. What I'm going to ask you to do is, if you'll retire, we'll make a decision. I don't think we will be very long. Thank you for your cooperation again. Thank you for your patience. Right, having listened to the evidence of both sides and having listened to the cases as presented, and we're happy that the proposals you've asked us for are in line with the 4 licensing objectives, and we've taken on board the alteration to section 36. So we're happy to agree with the proposals put in front of us, and once again, thank you for the way that you've presented yourselves. Wish everything was this simple.
Thank you, councillors. Much appreciated.
Okay, thanks for your time. Have a nice day.